Alrighty, this is another episode or video where I give a writing tip. So, on the internet, I go by Rawr, and I have been uh, writing with the intent to be a professional for 10 years, but I have written stories my whole life, just kind of like having fun. And I'm also an artist. I mostly do illustrations. And in case you can't tell from my username, my favorite genre to tell stories in, to draw in, is horror. Okay. But I don't just do horror. I dab in a little thing here and there. So, for this video, I want to go into one of the biggest obstacles that a beginning writer, or really any writer, deals with is um starting the story, starting the book, starting whatever it is, just starting in general. Because you can plan out everything, you can develop your characters, you can plan out scenes, you can build worlds and all of that. You can do all of that development stuff. But really, doesn't matter if you don't start the story. And that's the biggest thing that I kind of see with writers in general. It's just, how do I start this? How do I begin my story? Because I have the middle, I have the end, but where is the beginning? And that can be frustrating. But the beginning is very important. Let me just fix up my writing document. I did not set this up before I started. Oops. Uh, Setting up the scene. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna show you now. Okay. There we go. There you are. Alright. There it is. Setting up the scene. Setting up the scene. So, usually what I do is I just start writing. Literally, just start writing. And, usually what comes out is something that keeps me interested. That's the biggest thing you want to think about, because the start of the story is gonna just might be the first impression of your story, right? So you want something that's interesting. Usually what I do is I usually get thrown into, or I throw my readers in the middle of a conflict or an intense scene, like just throw them right in the middle of it. Just like, oh, whoa, hold up. What is going on here? That's what I have done in the past, but it also depends on what kind of impact you want to make. Like, what kind of interest do you want to give your reader? Do you want to throw them in the middle of a conflict and be like, whoa, what's going to happen next? How did this even happen in the first place? Is this an everyday occurrence? Or let me take a breath. Do you want a softer intro into a story, like the way you can play it out is kind of like um give the impression that nothing is going on, but this is the start of the story. This is a story, right? So there might look like nothing is going on, but then something happens, right? So let's set up a scene. So here's an idea that I came up with. Let's go with um it seems normal. Let's go with that kind of scene. So let's have a character. Let's have Margaret. Ooh, Margaret. Margaret is she's like walking through the plaza. She's just doing her daily routine of walking home from work. So she struts. Oop. That's down the outwards her apartment. Right. So we have a character, we have the action that they're doing, we have the destination, right? And what kind of destination she has. This is Margaret, the character, who we assume is the main character, the protagonist, right? And she's strutting down, she's walking, she's active, right? What kind of area she's in? She's walking in an alley, so probably a city, right? What is her destination? Towards her apartment, her home, the place she lives. And it's not a house, but this also confirms that she's most likely in a city. And of course, we're assuming that Margaret is a she, right? Because Margaret is usually a feminine name, right? Let me sip my tea. Okay, so this is the first impression of our story, right? So when the reader reads it, you're probably like, okay, that's a very normal thing to do. Everyone does that. Everyone walks to the home in some form or fashion, right? So why is this story interesting? And that brings the intrigue, that curiosity of, okay, why is this interesting? So we're going to continue to fool the reader, right? We're going to continue to set up and describe what Margaret is doing. We're going to kind of like give a vibe of who Margaret is, right? Margaret, she feels how do I, what kind of person is Margaret? How do I say it? Because I have an idea in my head, I just can't think of it. But let's describe more of her and the kind of area she lives in. Her skirt. She's wearing her. What kind of skirts are those? Her frilled skirt sways with motion of her fishnet covered legs as she, now let's describe what she's looking at as she, or like how she feels about her surroundings. So her fishnet covered legs as she admires the planted trees and natural vines of her area, of her surroundings. So now we kind of have an idea of what kind of clothing she has and a little more of what her area looks like. I'm kind of like getting the vibe of Italy, right? Or Puerto Rico, if you've ever been to Puerto Rico. Oh my god. That place is beautiful. Anyway. And like, almost like a plaza, right? Because she's still an alley, right? Let's see, what else is Margaret doing? Margaret struts down the alley towards her apartment. Her frilled skirt sways with the motion of her fishnet-covered legs as she admires the planted trees and natural vines of her surroundings. Let's give a little of how she feels about it. The floral view for her hometown has her hometown has always filled her heart since she was a little girl. So now we have confirmed that Margaret is a girl because we're using feminine pronouns, right? And, she even bothers to wave common greetings to her neighbors. Okay, so why are you giving that her neighbors? Stop giving me that blue line, right? Okay, but why is this interesting? What does this have to do, right? Now we're gonna go want to get it. I have an idea in mind. I need to speed it up a little bit, so I'm not going to be as descriptive as I want to. But now we kind of have a better idea of Margaret and where she is, right? That is our setup. That is the beginning of our story. Her knee-high boots link against the, what are those things called? Those little bricks. Oh well, against the pavement of the ground as she finally reaches a door to the entrance door. Entrance door to her building. So we're getting the general idea that Margaret is a normal person. Why are we writing about a normal person, right? So let's describe her walking out the stores. She walks up the stairs to her room like any other day. Overhearing the shouting of the other residents. Okay, we finally got her up to there. Her nails, like, so far, like, seemingly normal. So, like, what's going on, right? Her black nails with, we can also include, like, maybe a side character, like, saying, hello, Margaret, and then she goes, hello, but I don't have time for that, so. Her black nails, twist the key, and unlocks the door to her apartment. At last, she is home. Right. Unlocks. Here we go. Locks the door to her apartment. At last, she's home. Yeah. Thanks to a stressful day at work, maybe we can, like, describe real quickly what she does for an occupation. Like, maybe she's a receptionist, right? A lady who works at the desk. And then, thanks to a stressful day at work, snack sounds really good right now. Really good right now, right? So, kind of have some emotions of Margaret, like, today was not a good day. Okay. She makes her way to fridge and opens the old container. Margaret contemplates. Now, here's probably a good place to put your twist. This is where I was thinking of putting my twist here. Right? So, Margaret contemplates on what exactly to eat, to munch on, as she stares back at Creep, or at the head of the Creep, who decided to fall last night. And finally, we have our hook. Finally, we now understand what this story is about. If I can put it in the correct words. I don't know where my mouse is, so I don't know why. There we go. Okay, I can't see my mouse on the screen when I'm recording. Okay, so we have at least 3 short paragraphs. I could have added more, but this is setting up the scene, and we can definitely add more. But let's see what we have right now. Margaret struts down the alley towards her apartment. Her frilled skirt sways with the motion of her fishnet-covered legs as she admires the planted trees and natural vines of her surroundings. The floral beauty of her hometown has always filled her heart since she was a little girl. She even bothers to wave common greetings to her neighbors. Her knee-high boots clink against the pavement of the ground as she finally reaches the entrance door to her apartment building. She walks up the stairs to her room like any other day, overhearing the shouting of the other residents. Her black nails twist the key and unlocks the door to her apartment. At last, she is home. Thanks to a stressful day at work, the snack sounds really good right now. She makes her way to the fridge and opens the cold container. Margaret contemplates on what exactly to munch on as she stares back at the head of the creep who decided to follow her last night. And finally, we have our twist. Finally, we have the reason of why readers should continue reading the story. And again, I could add more to this, but we have the basic scene of what's going on. We have our character. We kind of have a description of what she looks like, what her personality is, what kind of place she lives in. This is like a daily occurrence to her. So like, this is nothing new. This is normal, perfectly normal. Happens all the time. Routine, right? And then finally, when she gets home, when she's in the safety of her own flat, and she's had a stressful day at work, we kind of start to see a little more about Margaret, who Margaret is. It was stressful at work, and sometimes that means she does some stress snacking, right? Like, the snack sounds really good right now. And so now we finally figure out what it is about Margaret that the reader should stay interested. This is why the reader wants to continue with this story, right? And it's because she eats people. She's a cannibal! But that's one way to set it up. like I've said before, another way that I have done it is just like going straight into the conflict, into the middle of a scene, right? Because then, in the middle of that thrilling experience may be a normal occurrence to the character. Or maybe it's not a normal experience. Maybe we, instead of Margaret just enjoying her life, being a cannibal, maybe Margaret was kidnapped, right? Or she's running away from him. Breathes. Oh, I found it. Breathes. No. Margaret tries to contain her breathing as she huddles behind the dumpster. Huddles behind the dumpster. Oh, my dog. Like, that's another way to just instantly hook in your reader. Just instant conflict. Instant scene where there's intensity that's supposed to happen. We're in the middle of it, and so now we're like, oh, wait, what is going on? How did she get into this situation, right? So that is a way to set up a scene. Another way to help is to maybe instead of starting with the character, maybe we can start with the scenery. The sun rises slowly with its warm apricot tones. Maybe we can describe what the birds are doing. What kind of sounds do morning birds make? Maybe not the birds. I can't think of what I want to do with that for now. Sip of tea. Right. So the sun rises slowly with its warm apricot tones. I don't want to start the next sentence with the article the, but I guess we'll have to because I'm short on time. Morning birds sing their tunes of gratitude as the dew drops absorb the sun's rays. So now we're kind of describing the scene, right? Enough of that. Maybe we can describe the name of the city. Like, Popcorn Town or Popcorn City. Popcorn City, because why not? Popcorn City greets the sun. Greets its angelic friend and accepts the I'm getting too flowy, getting too poetic. It's angelic friend and accepts the awakening getting through the windows of the many buildings that are sprinkled grow as the land, the area. So, kind of get an idea of what's kind of. I could go into a little bit more about what Popcorn City looks like, but we're getting a little carried away here. So maybe now, this one also, no. These precious, and now there's something going on. These precious rays tickle, or, sorry about the noise. Here's through windows and tickles the face of one young lady. She scrunches her nose as the sun pierces through the darkness that we all call slumber. Now we finally have Margaret. And that was in 2 paragraphs, 2 short paragraphs, right? So now, the sun rises slowly with its warm apricot tones. The morning birds sing their tunes of gratitude as the dewdrops absorb the sun's rays. Popcorn City greets its angelic friend and accepts the awakening through the windows of the many buildings that are sprinkled throughout the area. These precious rays peer. This is why proofreading is important. These precious rays peer through the windows and tickles the face of one young lady. She scrunches her nose as the sun pierces through the darkness that we all call slumber. A moan grumbles through from back of her throat as the dread of waking up snatches her from her dreams. Then we could use this opportunity to be like, this person who's dreading waking up, her name is Margaret. Margaret sits up, stretches with her arms out in a yawn, bellowing away asleep. Now we finally have our character, and now we know the name of her city. Now we know, or at least we have an idea. We can imagine what kind of city Popcorn City is, right? We have a scene. It's sunrise, right? So now we have a time. And we kind of have a little bit of Margaret's personality. She doesn't like waking up. She wants to sleep all day. So yeah, those are many ways that we can set up a scene. We can start our story. And it all comes down to, how do you, like, if you're reading a story, what would intrigue you, right? That's what it comes down to. What would keep your interest? Because the chances are, if it keeps your interest, it keeps your intrigue, and if it causes you to be interested in the story, chances are it's going to do the same for your readers. What do you want to get out of a story? Right? So hopefully that helps. This is a tad longer, and sorry about the noise, But, I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!